I was born in a conservative society where women sometimes can be seen as an secondary. And actually, despite the fact that my family was very supportive of me and they invested a lot in my education, sometimes I met a lot of obstacles that had been constructed to really be obstacles for the women in order to achieve my goals. I'm very thankful to my parents, to my family, because I accomplished a lot. But I have to say that in Georgia, where, yeah, society is very conservative, as everywhere else, women politicians sometimes and all the time, we met a lot of obstacles. To say frankly, I mean, I totally agree with the Vice President Kamala Harris, and I hope she will become the president, first female president. She said once that the status of women is a status of democracy. And actually, I mean, when I started my working in the criminal justice sector, and probably you're aware that the criminal justice, like police, is considered to be the most masculine profession ever. Actually, everybody, all my relatives, including my relatives, they had been saying that, oh my God, what kind of profession he has chosen? This is not right, because she can be doctor, she can be, I don't know, teacher, she can be administrative worker. But no, actually, I was a single mother. I did not have very conservative family, and actually I managed to achieve a lot of accomplishments, a lot of goals. What kind of obstacles women politicians can really face, not only in my country, but everywhere else in the world? First of all, sexism, harassment, verbal harassment, harassment in the social networks. And actually, I had been running twice. I had been running my campaign twice at the national level, at the local level. And I can imagine actually how detrimental and egregious it was for my family. For me personally, but also it was like, all this sexist harassment, verbal harassment in the social networks. Sometimes this attitude of the people that, oh my God, I mean, nobody can vote for the female politicians even in Georgia, because, I mean, sometimes Georgia is considered to be very European. Even in Ukraine, when I was the chief of the National Police of Ukraine, actually all these generals around me, and probably my Ukrainian friends remember that, they had been saying openly, she's a female, she doesn't know anything. And actually she's a foreigner also. To say frankly, I mean, why we don't have the real leadership in the political organizations and the political parties? I can name a lot of obstacles, a lot of reasons, but I want to share with you my main pain as a female politician. First of all, we don't have money. Female politicians, we don't have money. We don't have financial capital, which is so much important for the political parties. I was a chief of the largest opposition party's faction in the parliament. First female faction leader, caucus leader. To say frankly, I was a leader, female leader. I was very vocal, and we are very vocal in Georgia as a female politicians. But I did not have one power to impact the processes. And this power was to make decisions in the political organization. Why? Because we don't have financial capital to go and run our own campaign, which is so much important. We don't have financial influence to go and have and build up these alliances. And this is so much important when we're talking about the elections, when we're talking about women in the leadership, and when we're talking about how to really advance women's role in the political organizations. Gender equity is very popular for the for international community. There are a lot of conferences, and we're sitting on these conferences. I have been delivering these speeches and these gender conferences, and talking about equity. But when you enter the room, guess what? All women are sitting there and no men. So this is the number one problem, and if we want to advance the role of the women in the political organization as the leadership, we have to understand that the education of the men is so much important, sensitivity of the men is so much important, empower the women and to really support them, and I'm talking it for the international community, for the, I don't know, for everybody who is, just who works, for the gender empowerment, to really support women, to really support financially women, and to really understand that for us, as the women politicians, we are less corrupted, we have more moral ground, we are not leaning to the business ties and the deals and the alliances, and that's why it is so much important for the regimes and the systems to suppress us. That was like in Georgia, when we had been contradicting the Russian law last year and this year. So we have to understand, all of us, that being women politician, it is much way harder because we have to overcome, millions of obstacles other than men politicians who really just can have power, money, and to really be to really impact as a decision maker. We have to be decision makers in the political organizations and in the parties, political parties, and this will lead us to really empower other women as the leaders. Thank you.